What's up, y'all? I'm doing a February 2023 tier list for Master Duel. This includes speculation that Sprite is going to be released along with tier. We might just get Sprite and not tier, but who knows? I'm going to include them anyway because it's very likely, based on the ban list, that we are going to get them. So first up, no surprise, tier. I definitely think tier is going to be the dominant deck in the meta if it releases. If it doesn't, you can go ahead and ignore that, and I think that Math Mech along with Circular is probably going to be the strongest, most consistent deck of the meta, followed up by Branded. Branded and Branded Despia are just kind of next to each other because I feel like Branded Despia is the strongest variant, so just, right here chilling next to each other. And the next we have Sword Soul and Sword Soul Tenyi, and that's going to go ahead and actually, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and put Dragon Link still in tier 1. The deck's not really losing anything, and it's still just pretty decent. I'm actually going to go also and put Flow up there, like dangling off the ass of tier 1. Flow has been surprisingly relevant in Diamond, and I keep seeing it pretty much everywhere. It's annoying to play against. I don't have too much trouble against it, but I do feel like if it opens well, it can be kind of annoying to reckon with. So ass end of tier 1, maybe the start of tier 2, which brings us to tier 2. I'm putting Runic down in tier 2. Why am I putting Runic down in tier 2? Because enough people have played against the deck to know when to ash the deck, when to kind of counterplay against the deck, and the deck is just not the powerhouse that it was at the beginning of last format because people know how to play against it, and our boy Circular got released. So still decent. It can still make top cut, but I don't think the deck is tier 1 worthy at this point. Next we have Adagnister. It's pretty much still the sleeper hit of tier 2, and it's just good in general. Followed up by Marinsis. Marinsis in a best of 1 format is really strong. If this was best of 3, it would be a lot lower, but it's best of 1, so definitely going to be up here in tier 2. Next, we're going to follow that up with Prank Kids. Yes, the Emancipator hit of Grass going away hurts, but Prank Kid still has its own engine, and I feel like the deck is still decent. And we're going to follow that up with Sprite. I feel like Sprite minus Toad, because Toad is being preemptively hit. I feel like Sprite minus Toad can still do things. It can still be a decent engine. There's still like the Sprite tier deck. There's also still the the Sprite Live Twin deck that's decent. Like, the deck can do things. It has a okay engine, but it's definitely not going to be tier 1 because with the Toad hit and the Union Courier hit, it's just not going to be as good as it was if those weren't banned. Next we have Try and Try Zoo. I do feel like Zoo Try is the better variant. The deck is pretty much unscathed, and it's going to keep staying unscathed by the list. It can just keep doing its thing. We're going to follow that up with Sky Strikers. I don't know why I blanked on the name for a second. Sky Strikers are fine. They're not going anywhere, and they're decent. I occasionally see them pop up in Diamond. I'm like, oh, someone's still repping Strikers. Nice. Next we have D2D. This deck being able to make just a massive negate board and play out of a couple of negates. With the right pilot, this deck is really strong. You won't see it very often. The representation for it's not really there, but the deck is good. Like, the deck is really good, and if you see an experienced player play this deck, you will understand why I'm putting it so high. And then after that, we have Eldritch. So Eldritch is losing one of the there can only be ones, but it is also gaining a Conquistador. Getting one of its key cards back is pretty good. Yes, it's losing Floodgates, but it's getting Cursed Eldland back at 3, and it's getting Conquistador back at 2. I feel like the deck is going to start popping up again and start being annoying. I don't feel like it's going to be the best thing in the format, but I do feel like you're going to be seeing it represented, and I do feel like it is going to be kind of annoying to play around. Next we have Numeron. Numeron's getting their Draw 2 back. I think it's called Memories of Hope. They're getting it at 3. Numeron's Numeron. It's pretty much always just going to be there and always going to be annoying and come out of left field and OTK you if they get their combo off. By their combo, I basically mean slam down field spell, unga bunga, make beat stick. If you can't stop that, they're going to do things. Next we have Thunder Dragons, and I'm actually going to move them down. I'm going to put them kind of right here along with Pendulum, because Pendulum lost the Pendulum FTK. I'm actually going to move Pendulum down even further. There we go. So, Endymion starting tier 3. Endymion, negate board. If you can stop them from setting it up, you win. If you can't stop them, you're going to have to play around a very difficult board and a ton of negates. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put Thunder Dragons and then Drytron. Drytron's kind of lost its steam, and there's better negate decks you can play, and there's better negate boards you can make. That's about it for that. Next, I'm actually going to have ABC Therion. So Therion's as a deck, like as their own deck, are going to be somewhere down in tier 4. But Therion ABC or Therion Cyber Dragon or Therion Machine deck, like Therion ABC is just, it's decent. I could see it maybe squeaking into a top cut if the person got really lucky with their matchups. It's definitely not tier 2 worthy, but tier 3 I can totally see it. Same with Altergeist for this reason that I listed above for ABC. Same with Pendulum. I'm actually going to move Pendulum even lower. Dinosaurs, if they make the board, they make the board. If they don't make the board, oh well. I finally saw a Dynamorphia deck actually do things, and I actually lost to that Dynamorphia deck, and I was very surprised because I hadn't seen a competent Dynamorphia player in Platinum or Diamond in the past couple of seasons, and I finally saw one, and I get it, and I get why they're decent. I feel like the deck isn't really decent enough to be in tier 2, but I could see it sneaking into a top cut. Next we have Adventure Good Stuff. I'm actually going to put them... The deck's kind of fallen off. I really haven't seen any of the shenanigans. I'm actually going to put them way down here. I'm going to move Pendulum down again. And I'm also going to move Legendary Ocean down and Blue Eyes into tier 4. So next we have Scareclaw. Scareclaw... If Scareclaw does its thing, it's good. If Scareclaw gets fenced out, then meh. I mean, like, it's not the best deck, but it is decent, and you might occasionally run into it, so it deserves a mention. Same with Live Twin. The representation for this is down, but I do see it in Diamond, like, enough to put it up here. Next one I have Grand Menju. Yeah, it just... Grand Menju shenanigans, like it can occasionally come out of left field and KO you, and with Runic being so represented in the meta still, despite it not being that great, like if my opponent banishes most of my deck and I just manage to slam down Menju on the field, they're gonna have a bad time if they don't have their negate, their effect negate. Next we have zombies, like anti-meta zombies. Tier 3, it's decent. Zombie World, it's still a good card. You can still cause problems because it makes, you know, everything zombies. Next we have Salad, followed by Adventure Good Stuff, followed by Pendulums, followed by Legendary Ocean. And then finally getting into tier 4, which is going to be our more roguish decks that you probably will not see winning a tournament anytime soon. But they're fun to play. We're going to go ahead and start off with Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes is a beat stick deck, but it's just not as good as the beat stick decks up here. Like if you wanted to play beat stick deck, you might as well just play Numeron OTK. Next we have Going Second Crusadia. It can still do things. It's just not that strong. Next we have Dragon Maid. not Dragon Link, Dragon Maid, but just pure Dragon Maid. If it's Dragon Link, Dragon Maid, it's probably more like tier 3 or tier 2 even. But just pure Dragon Maid, tier 4. Next we have Spiral. The deck, even with its unlimits, is just not impactful. It's very easy to out, and it's just very easy to play against. Tier 4. Next we have Spellbooks. If it's Spellbook Runic, it's kind of like closer to tier 3, tier 2. If it's pure Spellbook, I actually think I was being too generous to it and should be down here. Phantom Knights, you pretty much never see them anymore. The deck can still do things, but it's just the representation's not there, and it loses out to just pretty much everything above it. Emancipator, losing Grass getting hit to 2 really hurts the consistency. The deck just basically keeps losing cards, and I really think that it's going to be tier 4. Maybe I'm wrong, it'll be like the Asin dangling off of tier 3, but I feel like the deck is kind of dead. Madolche, it can kind of do things. If you out the spells, it's screwed, but it can kind of do things. Hero, it's not impactful in the meta right now, especially with the Destiny Fusion card being limited. It's just really not worthwhile to play. Ecclesia, once again, just there's better things to run for a light package right now, so I feel like the deck is just not really doing much. Trap Chicks, pretty much same logic. Cyber Dragon, same logic. Therion Cyber Dragons, probably a little bit higher, like it'd be up on the top of tier 4, maybe Ascend of tier 3. The negate really helps the deck. Next we have like the Kaiju spam, Kaiju out decks. Those are going to be decent, and you will occasionally see them. If it works, it works, but it is lower because there are some decks that don't really need to establish monsters like Runic, and so it's just the Kaiju King of the Beast thing, not as relevant in this meta. Next we have Speedroids, followed by Orcust, followed by True Draco, followed by Unchained, followed by Mayakashi Bone Tower OTK FTK, followed by what's it called, Virtual World, followed by Cyberdark, followed by Spellbooks, and that's going to round out our tier 4. All those decks I just mentioned, they're just kind of too slow to keep up in the meta, and that's why they're so low. Which finally brings us to our trash can tier. These are basically going to be unplayable. If you run into one and you get beat by one of these, you might have some consistency issues with your deck. We're going to go ahead and start off with Nordics, followed by our boy Skull Servants. 2 grass really kind of hurts this deck and hurts the consistency. Followed by Gladiator Beast, followed by Exodia. I can't see you playing Exodia or Burn Solitaire, basically, while Runic exists, because if one of your pieces get banished, you are screwed. Followed by Ice Jade. Even with getting the rest of its cards, this deck is trash. Followed by Inzectors, followed by UA, followed by Dark Magician. This deck is just too easy to out, and Eternal Soul is just too easy to out right now. Followed by D-Heroes, followed by, I can't even remember what this is called for a second, Trickstars, followed by Pure Lunalights. If it's Lunalight Tri, it's probably going to be somewhere around tier 3. If it's Pure Lunalight, trash can. Followed by 6 Samurai. The only thing they can do pretty much is make Ronko. Followed by Plunder Patrol. The deck's bad. I know people keep saying, well, I run Plunder Patrol and I'm in Platinum. Good for you. The deck is still bad. You know, I love Sub-Terrors, but I'd put my boy Guru right up in trash tier as well right now. Followed by Gravekeepers, Cubic, Evil Eye, Pure Chaos Variants, Pure Springin. If it's Springin branded, it'll probably be in like tier 4 territory. Pure Burning Abyss, and Arrow Mage. And that is going to round it out for our tier list for February 2022. Like, comment, subscribe, agree with me or disagree with me below. And once again, this video is brought to you by W Energy. You can use the code SirLargeGaming in the link below to get 10% off. I am still really into the peach mango flavor. I know they just released a blue raspberry. Haven't tried it yet. Curious to see how it is. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.